He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
And we are back, and on the air with a very special guest, Alex McFadyen, mortgage broker, owner of Flow Mortgage, and he sort of has this image of the mortgage pug. You go, that's your sort of thing you do, right? The mortgage pug. We got the pug here.
That's the thing we do. I'm just a pug. He's just chilling with us here right now at the moment. But yeah, now this is the moniker. Now he's the champion of the brand, the Mortgage Pug. As you've known me online on Instagram for the better part of the last 10 years, kind of a thing.
Okay, well, I've never paid that much attention to you, to be honest with you. No, I'm just kidding. I was fine. What's his name? Come on.
This guy. This is actually pug number 2, my friend. This is the OG pug, passed away a couple years ago. We got to give him a little bit of love. His name was Ernie. This is Chewy. Chewy's taking over the mantle. He's just hanging out with you right now. As you can tell, he's totally dialed into this conversation, very focused. Yeah, we're pumped to have this chat today.
He's just dialed in. So I don't have any pets, but if I did have a pet, I got to ask you something. Because you're much younger than I am, so are you familiar with a movie called Pulp Fiction?
Very familiar. I watched it like 3 weeks ago, man. I love that movie.
Okay, cool. So I want you to think back to Pulp Fiction, and there's the time where they go into the shop. Do you remember they go into the shop, right?
Yep. Okay.
They go down the basement, and then in the basement, they open a trunk, and someone gets out of it, and they call that person the Gimp, okay? And the Gimp is in a latex suit with a ball gag on, and like is completely covered in latex. He's got a ball gag in his mouth. That would be my pet if I had a symbol, okay? Because I am that kind of a guy. My pet would be the Gimp. I keep him in the trunk in the basement, right? So
where do you even take
more
that?
Information than people need? Is that more information than people need? I don't know, but like
I'm never gonna live that down.
We're gonna get that out of your mind.
In my mind.
No, it's stuck in your mind. One of my favorite movies of all time is Pulp Fiction. It's really
classic, man. It's classic. I mean, you can't beat. Some people think Saturday Night or whatever is it, Saturday Night Fever, or I don't even know what it is. John Travolta, the original one he does where he's dancing.
Yep. God, that's Saturday Night Fever. Come on, jeez, come on.
There we go. Saturday Night Fever. That's what they think of with him. I think of Pulp Fiction. That's John Travolta at its peak. Is Pulp Fiction, hands down. But yeah, no, the Gimp. You've just completely screwed up my head for the rest of the week. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that one. Chewy, you're not a Gimp. You're okay.
Those are my three favorite Quentin Tarantino movies are the Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, both parts.
Yes.
And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Those are the three top Quentin Tarantino movies. One of the best 3 movies ever made by anybody. And yeah, I'm a fan. But the Gimp would be my pet. Yeah, for sure. Gimp would be my pet.
Reservoir Dogs doesn't register.
I mean, it was early. It was a bit raw. He hadn't really perfected his whole directing style. But definitely those 3 films. That's all classic Tarantino. That's every bit Tarantino down to his toes. So, but speaking about toes, because Tarantino is a famous foot fetish. Okay, I don't know if you were aware, but in Kill Bill, the first opening scenes are like half of them are shots of Uma Thurman's feet. Okay, and then it goes a full cycle because Tarantino's getting old now. Go full cycle. So in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Uma Thurman's daughter is in that movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, okay? And when she asked her mom, what should I think about when I'm doing this movie? I've got a small part, but I'm doing this movie with Tarantino. What should I think about? And Uma Thurman said, never take off your shoes. That's not even a lie. That's not even a lie. That 100% that happened, okay? Don't take off your shoes, okay? That's what happened.
So you watch Tarantino for the feet and for the Gimp is what I'm hearing.
No, I got though. The GIMP is a treasure for the world, but I'm not feet don't mean anything. I mean, I know people who are making. I don't know them, but we once had an application from a person who was most of their income was derived from Foot Finder. Are you familiar with Foot Finder? I know you're familiar with OnlyFans, right?
I went to a dinner with a broker about 2 years ago, and he told me about how he took photos of his girlfriend's feet, and that's how they make their money. I don't know if it's because the business was down or it's just what they were doing.
No, that's Foot Finder. That is 100% Foot Finder. Yeah, that's it. So Foot Finder's a real thing. We had an application once. The person, was their revenue derived from Foot Finder, but the bank didn't buy it. The bank just did not buy into Foot Finder as being legitimate work. So what can I tell you?
Well, it gets to an interesting conversation about OnlyFans, because I had an application on OnlyFans when it first started. I don't know if it was first started, but it was years ago anyway. And trying to shop that around to even like a private lender was like, no, this is porn. Like, no, well, maybe, but she's got literally a year and a half, 2 years of making an insane amount of money on OnlyFans. Early days, very different days now. But even now, it seems like not something lenders are really interested in, is the OnlyFans money.
Okay, so this is very, very important information for the listeners and the viewers. That OnlyFans is very, very similar if you're an economist, because there are economists who study this stuff, right? There's a famous study. Malcolm Gladwell was really the foundation of his career. Malcolm Gladwell did a study on the economics of drug dealing, and he found that the low end, the very bottom of the tier of drug dealing, of selling drugs, they made less than minimum wage. Those people at the very bottom made less than minimum wage, and 92% of the people on OnlyFans make less than minimum wage. But the 8%, particularly the top 2 or 3%, they do really well. Really, really well. But like it's economics, right? I know everybody has probably left the podcast by now, but
we lost them at GIMP, man. We lost them at GIMP.
We lost them at the GIMP.
They were gone after that. Hopefully they're hanging out, because this is gonna be fire today. I'm excited for that. But I want to touch that last point on that. Is I've come across now, I not that many, maybe like 6 or 7 OnlyFans applications. Not a lot, less than you'd think for a guy who has a pug. Yeah, you're right. Out of the ones I've talked to, they tend to be actually the top tier ones. But when you ask them the same question, they know a lot of people that do it, and they're like, yeah, well, I'm one of the only ones that actually makes this much money doing this OnlyFans. Actually, other really interesting income source I've seen a lot of lately is professional sports betting. Specifically like people making nothing crazy, but like $100,000 a year, $150,000 a year for 3-4 years, like consistently every single year, month over month, year over year over year. Another thing banks don't like, obviously.
Yeah, that's an even worse economic model. Over 98.5% of people involved in sports betting lose money. So that is literally the 1.5% are the people who actually make money. When poker was really, really big, like you remember about 6 years ago, poker was huge, like absolutely crazy. We had people apply who were professional poker players.
Yep.
And the crazy part is that they did well for a few years where poker was really running hot, and we did get one of them a private mortgage, and then about 2 years later they sold the house. And the bottom line was he wasn't making as much money in poker anymore. Like it comes in waves, right? These things they're wave based. But yeah, I don't think you're going to find anybody in a bank who's given a professional sports bettor a mortgage. That's not happening. No.
No time soon. So between OnlyFans and sports betting, probably don't apply for a mortgage anytime soon. Private mortgages, maybe, but that'll be the end of that rope. But
so we got to get back to mortgages before this thing just completely derails. We're going to get back to mortgages, and so you're in Mexico, right?
I'm in Tulum. Yes, sir.
You're in Tulum. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things we wanted to talk about, first topic I wanted to hit on is, we read about this a lot. This has been a big subject for particularly the last 30 days. We've seen a lot of reports come out, a lot of information about two things. Canadian capital, Canadian money, leaving Canada for other countries, and actual Canadians leaving Canada for other countries. It's been a big, big topic for the last 6 weeks, especially the last month. And now you're not living there permanently, right?
No, I'm just here for a month, 30 days.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And normally you're based in Kelowna.
Moved to Kelowna. I've been in Langley, Lower Mainland, for the better part of 15 years, but that's where I live now, yes.
Okay. But you have been assisting people in the purchase of, or you refer realtors and to the purchase of properties in Mexico. That you've had that experience, right?
So realtors in Mexico refer me clients who are Canadian to help get them access to money to be able to purchase these properties in Mexico. Yeah, absolutely. And we recommend them if necessary if someone reaches out to us. But typically people come to us by way of a realtor who used to be a Canadian or most likely still is Canadian, but was living in Canada and moved to Mexico to sell real estate.
And some of these people have moved to Mexico to sell real estate full time.
That's right.
Is it possible with healthcare issues to live in Mexico full time?
Well, I want to share a little story with you. Last year in January, I came to Mexico on an all-inclusive trip. So we came for one of those, package trips for 10 days or 7 days or something like that. And I got sick like the third day in here with what ended up being pneumonia. And it got really bad in a short period of time. And by the third day, I realized, holy shit, like this is not good. Within the better part of an hour or 2 hours of calling a doctor, I had a doctor in my room there, like a full-fledged doctor in my room. So I'm talking like 1 to 2 hours, full service. And then within an hour after that was not completely diagnosed, but here's what we think it is. And given my drugs and everything I needed, and when it wasn't resolved at that time, I was sent to a hospital, got into the hospital, got right into care within 15 to 20 minutes with no issues, and it cost me maybe $300 to go through that entire experience, from the doctors to the meds to the entire experience of going to the hospital. So if someone asks me a question and said, what's it like from a medical care perspective? I've unfortunately had a history of pneumonia in the past. And in the past, when I went to the hospital, it took me 6 hours in the waiting room dying, or going through an ambulance, and then waiting in a bed in the hallway for the better part of 4 to 6 hours before anybody saw you, and then did tests, and you sat in the hospital for a day before they saw you. So I would rate the Mexican medical system as my experience being 10x better than anything I've ever dealt with in Canada. So I'm going to leave that right there, which is a totally different dynamic. But to answer your question, yeah, people know that, and they come here willingly, able to live their lives knowing that there is a healthcare system. Maybe it's different. Maybe the quality levels change depending on which city you're in. But if you're in a tourist-based city, they generally cater to the fact that there's people who have money here and are willing to spend it on doctors and dental care.
Yeah, it's factual that the United States is the only place on earth where healthcare is more expensive than Canada, and healthcare is... Yeah, we don't need to rehash the problems with healthcare in Canada, but it is, in a whole past life, like 40 years ago, I was involved in the employee benefits industry, and what you quickly found out was that you only need the travel insurance for the United States, and you could get clipped, like you could really get clipped in the U.S. on healthcare, like you could have. You could have the same attack you just described with pneumonia, need to be hospitalized overnight, and end up with a bill for $258,000. Okay,
easily.
That's not hard to do in the States, not hard at all. So the difference is, if you're on a vacation to Italy and you got the same thing happen to you as you just did in Mexico, you wouldn't be paying $300. You'd probably be paying $1,300, but that's all it costs. And that's why that would be 100% covered by OHIP, because it's cheaper. Be covered by provincial medical plans, because it's cheaper. They would be better off shipping us all to Italy to get sick. Okay, it'd be much more cost efficient. So it is weird.
So when you talk about people making the move, and think about things like healthcare and benefits, and realtors coming down here to work, I mean, there's a combination of reasons why. Obviously, you'll have to ask some of them, but it's just a real thing, and it's not something new. It's just picked up steam over the last 5 years. Obviously, the amount of money we talked about leaving the country, which I don't know if you have hashed or rehashed or gone onto it, we've seen it reported all year long. And we're going to continue to see it being reported. But more and more people that I talk to, particularly the ones that want to invest their money, are asking questions around, hey, how do I do this in the U.S.? How do I do this in Mexico? How do I do this somewhere else? I've had people bring up Portugal and Spain and all these different other places across the world that they're interested in buying. And the reasons why, Ron, are varied. Like, some people are doing it because it's a lifestyle decision. You get people that say, like, listen, I want to live in Mexico for a quarter of the year or half the year, and I want a place that I can call my home, that I don't have to go and find a new hotel or new Airbnb every single time and deal with all those problems. And I'm going to rent it out the rest of the time, but it's going to pay for itself. I'm going to have somebody pay for it for me, and that's going to be one of my forms of investing, by having it cover its cost. And there's a convenience factor associated with that, and I've had many people do it now, and they're pretty happy with the experience so far, aside from the standard issues of owning a second piece of real estate on the other side of the country or world, right? The real estate agent thing is interesting, man. Like, I was walking down the street, and a guy recognized me because I'm walking with my pug, so that's how crazy Instagram is. And he's a realtor. He saw me across there, and I had 10 minutes to talk to him while he was here, and he's just like, oh yeah, I'm just picking up this other realtor from, funny enough, my neighborhood, which is actually hilarious, somebody I knew, and she's here showing properties for her clients from the Vancouver area.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to get in the business of recommending buying real estate in Mexico, because I am really old, and I understand that that the idea of investing outside of the United States and Canada, there are some rule of law issues, there are some geopolitical issues that can in my mind, make Mexico less than a perfect investment.
Yeah.
But there's no need. People can make their own decisions. Okay. I mean, but it is fascinating. I find it a fascinating trend that real estate investors, if they're interested, or people who want to become real estate investors, in many ways they've given up on Canada, or they have pushed out to a whole. Well, let me explain to you. Let me say it this way. I think it's the simplest way to call it. Real estate investors in Canada need to find real estate situations that cash flow and seem to have upside in price increase. But it would appear that the prices can go up and that I can make money from the first rent payment when I buy something. And that's become very, very, very fucking hard to find in British Columbia, in Ontario, and even in Calgary. So, we see investors start to move off into looking at Moncton and Fredericton and Regina and Edmonton particularly. So that is it fair to say that's just the real estate investor endlessly chasing the next possible market? Is that a fair statement?
I would say yes and no. Honestly, like we work with clients who are buying real estate investments in different areas as well. Like Edmonton, you brought up. We talked about Edmonton yesterday. But if you think about Canada, my honest feedback is, like, if I try to think about the common thread, it's not usually the person that you would consider to be a real estate investor that's doing this. Like, it's usually the person that's buying the second or third property that's doing this. The one that's...
Whoa. If you're buying a property other than your primary residence, you're a fucking real estate investor. That's the truth. I mean,
let me restate. Let's restate my
definition. Okay,
it's not the experienced.
You're a real estate investor. Okay?
It's not the experienced real estate investor. It's the one that's like the buying their second home, or maybe they bought one rental before, or maybe they kept their home and converted it or something. We're not talking about the people that are buying 5 or 10 and they're running around looking for cash flow properties or doing BRRRRs or something like that. Like, we're talking about people who are buying. Like, typically speaking, again, it's a lifestyle decision. Like most of these folks, it's like supporting their growth. Like, we see a lot of people that are looking to move and work abroad too. And that's the common thing. One of the things you mentioned to me was that a lot of these people that are coming down here, they work remotely, or they can work remotely a lot. And as such, they're like, we want to live here, work here, have this property. It'll be an investment for us, but it'll also be a place that we can live and call our home. And it's honestly a lot of the same feedback. It's like most of the people there's a lot of people that are obviously pretty anti-government. They're not a big fan of anything in the country. And one guy I met when I was down here a few days ago, he's just like, he brought up the same thing you said about health. Well, no, he brought up healthcare. He brought up dental. He's like, the dentist is cheap. He's like, the doctor is cheap. He's like, the quality of living is high. He's like, the cost of living has gone up in Mexico compared to Canada. But he's like, the truth is, I live a better quality of life life when I'm here. And that's what his feedback was to me. So it was an interesting piece of feedback, especially you would never think of Mexico 30 years ago or 20 years ago as being a better quality of life, but that's directly what he's saying to me. Aside from the shitty internet, it seems pretty nice here.
All right. So let's be clear. We're not recommending everybody run out and buy real estate in Mexico. I mean, there's a lot of things involved. I'll touch on one thing that a lot of people don't understand. When you're at that beautiful, beautiful beachfront property in Puerto Vallarta, you should know you can't ever buy there. I mean, you have to get involved in a lease arrangement with a local trustee, and it's complex. Because it's interesting. The Mexicans don't want their beautiful land sold off too. If you want to buy some shit in the middle of nowhere in a desert with a few cactus, they're okay. You can buy that yourself. You can buy that, no problem. But you want to live on the coast? No, you can't buy it at all. You got to buy it through a trustee, or you work through a trustee on a lease basis. It's complicated. So we're not here promoting the sale of Mexican real estate. But it is fascinating that a certain number of people are just finding Canada too hard. You know, they're saying, look, I mean, it's too expensive. It really boils down to affordability, right? I mean, this endless levels of taxation, endless levels of price increase. I was watching, just yesterday, I read a report that across Canada, every form of insurance to do with your property or your car has gone up over 6% just in a year. Like, you get pretty fucking tired of that shit if it goes on for years and years. I mean, it just eats away into your ability to live. So, yeah, inexpensive dentistry, inexpensive insurance, inexpensive medical. I mean, you can get the feeling that Canada, compared with an inexpensive place with a decent lifestyle, is a problem. So, we do it to ourselves, right? But listen, go ahead.
It's an interesting conversation to have. I haven't been down here for years. I haven't spent the 6 months that some of these guys have spent down here. And honestly, regardless of Mexico, my wife and I talk about this. She's self-employed too. She runs a business, and she said this to me like a month ago. She's like, you run a great business. You do really well for our family. Like you earn enough money, but she's like, I am shocked that some people are able to do what they do, and even survive right now. Like she said this to me really honestly. It wasn't like a statement from someone who pays attention to she's not reading the economic articles. She's into the fitness and stuff like that. And she's saying to me, like, how are people even surviving that you're talking to? How are they even getting a home? How are they even making mortgage payments? It seems so expensive. She's like, every time I go to Superstore, it's like an extra $1 for this other thing. And she's like, we're great. We're lucky that we're able to not have to worry about our money on groceries, but it is crazy. And she said that in a fully, very cognizant of the fact that we're grateful to be where we are right now, but just like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
Well, this is the constant reference in North America to the K-shaped recovery from COVID. That the K is that between 20 and certainly 20%, and maybe the real people who are making the most money are 10%. But for 20% of the people, things are going okay to great. Obviously in your top 5%, things are going great. But for the rest of the people, that's the other leg of the K, the people who are finding affordability very difficult. And let's just be honest, there's too much homelessness in Canada. And the food bank utilization has gone through the fucking roof in Canada.
It's wild, man. It's wild.
It's just off the charts in Ontario, British Columbia. Highest in history use of the food bank in Ontario. So, yeah, it is a K-shaped recovery. The top 20% are doing great, and the bottom 80% are just struggling and just getting by.
This is one of the reasons we saw a mass exodus from our clients in 20. We talked about this yesterday. 23 and 24. The amount of people that moved and left the Lower Mainland of British Columbia to move over to Calgary or Edmonton was phenomenal. Like it was just young
people. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Young people with families. Families. A lot of my clients from the past who had bought a home or a townhouse, probably in a condo for the most part, and they're sitting there like, we're going to move to. This is going back 2 years ago. We're going to move to Calgary. We're going to buy a house for $600,000. We don't need to have a basement suite. We get to have a nice yard for the kids, and we get to live in a place that we want to be. And we're going to sell off our townhouse for $800,000 or $850,000, and we're going to have a small mortgage for $200,000. Now, interestingly enough, some of them are actually coming back. They don't like Alberta that much, but eventually
the cold gets to people. Like, I'll tell you one thing about I'm born and raised in Vancouver, and I'm the only guy I know who never went back. Like, I'm not fucking with you. Like, our most British Columbians' social insurance number starts with a 7, right? You start with a 7, yeah?
Yep.
So when I look at, I've looked at thousands and thousands of applications from Ontario and Alberta, and I'm telling you, in Ontario, there's fuck all 7s. I might be the only 7. I saw two other people in the last 30 years who are, older people who had a 7. So yeah, British Columbians go back. They all go back. I mean, the allure of Vancouver, Lower Mainland, Vancouver Island, even the Okanagan Valley, there's just it's just attractive to people. And if you're raised there, 99% go back.
And that's where the conversation leads to around people who are going back. Well, what you say about going back is that everybody is fleeing Vancouver and the Lower Mainland for other areas in British Columbia. They may not be. 2025 is not the year of leaving BC. 2024 was. 2024 was we're all going to Edmonton. 2023 was Calgary. Now everybody's leaving Vancouver, Lower Mainland suburbs, and they're going to the island or they're going to the interior. So they're going to the Okanagan or they're going to Vancouver Island, one of those two places. Now everybody that seems to be going to the island is retired. So they're all the retirees go to the island, and everybody with families now goes to the interior, either into a main area like Kelowna or Vernon or something like that, or they go a little bit further north to somewhere in the Kootenays or something like that because they want to have a small town feeling.
Victoria is just God's waiting room. Like it's just like everybody there. They never buy green bananas. Like they, it's just like they got one foot in the grave and the other in a banana peel. Like it's just
they're not even going to Victoria, man. They're going up Saanich, or not Saanich. They're going halfway up the coast. I don't even know the names of the places.
They're going to Comox, or they're going, those areas. Yeah, 100%. Nanaimo. I mean, they're going to because those are, Victoria's expensive, obviously, but it's just literally God's waiting room. There's two kinds of people in Vancouver Island. There's the people who are waiting for death, and there's people who are the hardest core pot smokers you ever met in your life. They're like weed connoisseurs. Like they're like I spent a couple of years on Vancouver Island at one point. So that was the only two kinds of people there. I mean, there's just very old folks, and I'm waiting for the mushroom harvest. In the spring. Like they're all high. The old folks aren't that high, but the rest, a lot of high people in Vancouver Island.
There's a lot of high people.
A lot of high people. Fuck me.
Where do we even go from here, man? Between the gimp and the mushrooms.
Lot of really fucked up people in Vancouver Island. Like they're like alternating between mushrooms, edibles, and vaping. They're just like they're high all the time. So,
I can't wait to see the comments from this one, but they'll be too nice to get upset with us, so it'll be all good anyway. So
I blocked 15,000 people, so I mean, I control my comments. I mean, basically just. There'll be a couple of comments saying, "Yeah, man, I'm like high as fuck right now." In the comments, that'll be right there. So we'll see it for sure. So anyway, what's the real estate? What is the real estate situation in BC? You're a BC expert.
Yeah,
I know you do business in Alberta as well, but you're a BC expert. So if we look at the Lower Mainland, Greater Vancouver, my impression is, and because I do keep up with it. And we are licensed there. I try to take business away from you. So the Fraser Valley, the valley's bad. Like the valley's got lots of problems. Like anybody who bought a pre-construction condo in Surrey is doomed. Okay, or bought pre-construction in Langley is doomed. And that there's the super high luxury condos in Vancouver are feeling some pressure, like the new construction ones are feeling some pressure. But basically, low-rise housing in Greater Vancouver, North Van, West Van, Burnaby, New West, not bad. Like it's not great. It's not going up, but it's not in a bad state. What's your assessment of that?
Well, let's touch on pre-construction first, because that's, like, to your point, that's the area that got hammered the most. Like, it's suburban, like Langley would probably be the place to think about here. I mean, if anybody is watching this from Toronto, it's like 45 minutes outside the city. You're over the bridge at this point. It's kind of like the second. It's like the suburban epicenter of the Lower Mainland outside of Vancouver, I guess, if you will, or the valley. Langley has grown such a substantial amount in such a short period of time that, back in 2020 or 2021, that was where it's like the mecca of 4-story low-rise condos everywhere. And all over the place, it's the SkyTrain's coming, the SkyTrain's coming, the SkyTrain's coming. So it was just like the farmland turned into 4-story condos everywhere. And to your point, yeah, like this year has been a complete epidemic of condos completing at low appraised values, which thankfully RBC to save the day because they do those blanket appraisals, which is pretty wild. I do want to talk about that, but give me a second. Let me come back on that because I made a post about this. Chewy got fired up by that one. I made a post about this 3 weeks ago, and I got a lot of really interesting comments about this conversation. Anyway, so the pre-construction problems that you're seeing obviously in Toronto are nowhere near as bad in Langley. So it's not that bad, but it's bad enough that it is a serious issue, and there are properties that are coming in way under value. There was a townhouse. You've seen this in multiple places. There was a high-rise building that was complete. It was complete almost a year early, which is shocking, but it was complete almost a year early. And below that, they had these concrete townhomes on the bottom, now, which is basically like a 2-story condo, if you want to look at it that way, on the ground floor. Street entry. And these things were bought for $1.2 million for a 2-bedroom property in Langley. And they were appraising at $875,000, like $880,000, and that was best. That was an appraiser saying, like, this is the best that I can do. Like, I can't get anything more than that. Yet RBC stepped in and said, hey, I got you. Hold my beer. No problem. We're going to just appraise this at what it was originally purchased at $1.1 or $1.2 million. No problem. CMHC financing done because it was under $1.5 million, and so they could get financing with less than 20% down on the property, as well as it being a new build. Either way,
I don't know how easy it is to get CMHC financing on that. A 5% down financing on that, because the reality is that the CMHC's system is going to appraise it itself. Right?
You would like to think so. RBC did it. No problem. Done like dinner. But I mean, the blanket appraisal conversation is an interesting one. I mean, I'd love to hear your feedback because I feel like that's a prop up of the system. But
my feedback has always been consistent. We've been talking about this for the best part of 7 months. An appraisal is an opinion. Like I do legal expert work for mortgage scenarios, and I've encountered the appraisers who do the same kind of expert legal work. And this is the bottom line. Out of literally 1,000 cases in the last decades in the courts in Ontario, an appraisal is an opinion. That's all it is. It's an opinion. And as long as you weren't taking a bribe to create the appraisal, as long as there wasn't clear malfeasance, objectively provable malfeasance, the court's position is an appraisal is an opinion. And opinions can turn out to be right. They can turn out to be wrong. There seems to be an adequate number of comps. You could argue about whether the comps for these highly inflated appraisals are legitimate or not. But from the court's position is, it's an opinion. So we're not going to, if there's no bribe, then we're going to let it go. And that's the story of a blanket appraisal. Now, is a blanket appraisal good for the buyer? 50-50. 50% of those buyers end up with a bizarre concept that that's what the place is really worth. It's worth the original purchase price. It's absolutely not, because if you try to sell it the day after closing, you will not get that price. But, so that's a bad thing to give buyers bad impressions, wrong data, completely wrong data. Now, for the other group that say, look, I'm willing to hold on for 10 years and hope for the best, maybe a blanket appraisal is a good thing. As long as you're okay with losing money every single month on the property and not being able to sell it for 5 or 6 or 8 years. So you're okay with it and it allowed you to get into the property at a bank rate, maybe it's okay. But from a governance point of view, if I'm, the regulator, OSFI, looking at Royal Bank, I'm scratching my head a little. Like, I mean, wait a minute, like,
it's an inflated value based on a purchase price from 2 to 3 years before, which basically in one way kind of props up the system because it holds the values as it is, and the other way obviously completely throws people under the bus. But at the end of the day, the developers get the money that's owed to them, and they're happy and shaking the bank's hands and saying thank you for making this come together in one way, shape, or form.
There's no bank will do a blanket appraisal who is not the lead bank on the development loan.
Sure.
So what every single bank is doing is taking a $250 million problem or a $200 million problem and atomizing it into $300,000, $800,000 issues. Mm-hmm. And of those 300 issues, some of those people are financially very stable and can keep making the payments. And maybe only a handful or 15% are going to get into immediate problems or going to get some kind of real issues happen for the bank. But the bank doesn't care because they had a $200 million issue in Langley, which now they've turned into let's see what happens issue. Okay. So that's exactly, there is no blanket appraisal from any bank that is not the lead bank on the development of the property.
So that's one of the biggest issues that's come up, and it's present obviously everywhere. You know, speaking of Langley to Kelowna having the same problems, significantly so. Aside from that, man, it's probably, I would say it's a subjective conversation because the condo thing is a problem everywhere. It's not as dire, I don't think, in the Lower Mainland as maybe what we see and hear about in Toronto all day long. It's definitely nowhere near that serious of a problem. But I think the reality for what I've heard from most families is that a lot of people were just genuinely speaking, banking on being able to sell and upsize in 3 to 5 years or 4 to 6 years. And the biggest concern that I've heard from people is just like, quite simply, like I bought this townhouse in 2020 or 21 for the most part for $890,000, and now today it's worth $850,000, and I can't make that upsize move I want to make to that detached house, even though the detached house went from $1.6 to $1.3 million or whatever that looks like, right? So the market itself has just been flat, man. If you go all the way to Chilliwack, it dropped right off. It completely dropped right off. And one of the biggest reasons for that, Ron, is because we saw way less people doing that remote move. We didn't see people pushed out. They're going to want to get pushed out to Chilliwack to work remotely and drive all the way into Langley when now you can get that Langley house that was 1.6 for $1.3 million. So people will stay there instead and not move on. And there's just so much selection. So why bother moving out, right? Crisis would be a strong word, though. I wouldn't say there's any kind of crisis there, particularly not with that kind of stuff. And in fact, this is not something that I don't know what it looks like in Ontario as it relates to this, but the market itself is more active than I've seen all year long in the last 90 days. And I don't know why. I have no freaking clue other than just positivity coming back in the marketplace. But, we've had more purchase transactions in the last 90 days than we had the previous 180 days before that. So things have definitely moved up, and we've seen that in a variety of places, particularly, speaking of which, the Okanagan. So particularly seeing a lot more family purchases in the Okanagan. Now condos, again, they're hurting real bad. You get those studios, they're getting destroyed because there was tower after tower after tower complete, plus all the low-rise properties. But entry-level single-family homes, that's not sitting on the market. That's moving right away. That's what people are looking for, and that's who's buying real estate right now.
Yeah, I know our observation is somewhat similar. The only clearly identifiable cadre of buyers are first-time home buyers. They're couples and families buying their first home. Because there's a confluence of somewhat lower rates. We have almost every rate under 4%, and we have prices down. They are down. There's significant every single region in Ontario, with the exception of Thunder Bay. And yes, you fuckers who put those comments on from Thunder Bay can shut the fuck up about it from now on, okay? Like, I've mentioned Thunder Bay now as being fine. Thunder Bay is good. Thunder Bay is, yes, the market's up. It's a one little fucking town, guys, okay? Like, relax, okay? Like, every place else in Ontario is fucking, all right? But you Thunder Bay guys, I've said it now. No more comments, please. I don't need any more Thunder Bay comments. Thank you, okay? By the way, for those of you who know geography, Thunder Bay is damn near Manitoba, to be honest with you, okay? Like, it's a different place, all right? So, I know it's in Ontario, but, okay, Thunder Bay, shut the fuck up. We love you there, but still, shut the fuck up. But yeah, every single region, every single town, every single city, every single neighborhood in Ontario, prices are down. Now, there's a wide range. There's a condo catastrophe. There's the Brampton Depression, where, the students are all gone, Ford students gone. All hell's breaking loose. There's the bad news in parts of the 905. There's stuff you've talked about when people moved out of the city in 2021 expecting to work from home forever. That didn't happen. That ain't happening. So that's interesting. I don't know if you're having the same experience in BC, but the return to the office is really gaining strength in Toronto today and Ontario today. So are you seeing?
I keep reading about it, but I'm going to tell you right now, I am not physically seeing that very much at all. I'm not seeing it with our clients. I'm not hearing about it. I don't have anybody talking about it. I've been reading about it in the news and different articles, people talking about it left, right, and center, the return to the office, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't hear about it. It's not even a thing that comes up in any conversations. In fact, if nothing else, like I shared with you, the amount of families, the people that are relocating has not calmed down. You know, we had an application come in today from a family looking to make a relocation from the Lower Mainland elsewhere to the interior, and the conversation is the same. Yeah, I can work remote, no problem. Great.
So, but who are these people? What are their jobs? What is their occupations?
Name it, almost anything. Like some of them are tech, but not a lot of them. You know, the guy today was, interestingly enough, he worked for an electrical firm doing, I don't know, he's like controls or something like that, but he can run the team from a distance. He can run the team from anywhere, he said, so it doesn't really matter, and his company was open-minded to let him go work where he wants to work. So I think you're going to get we get a mixed bag of all sorts of different things. There's industries that I never ever would have thought about that the people work remotely, but anybody and everybody that you saw working in an office or could have worked in an office before is able to work wherever they decide to go, as you know. It's not something that I've seen slow down. If anything, like I said, Ron, it's picked up. The people that I've seen relocate, typically, they're not first-time buyers either. What I'm noticing is the first-time buyers are buying where they're living. It's the people that are young families that are relocating to different cities and communities. Those are the ones that are sick of it and they're moving on and they want space and they want a house for their kids and they want some room and they want to be able to upsize or get out of their condo in the Lower Mainland and make that transition out, right? That's been a big thing that we've seen, at least.
So I know it's hard living under a communist government in British Columbia. You know, like Dave Eby, the premier, is just to the left of Karl Marx. You know, like he's right there with Marx. And now it would appear that sometime over the course of the next 10 years, 93% of British Columbia will revert to native bands. So are you gonna end up living is that why you're in Mexico? You're trying to find a solution to
if I'm gonna have a leasehold, it might as well be in Mexico, man. So
yeah,
might as well.
Is your house in danger of becoming part of tribal lands at some point? Is that what's
according to the map? Yeah. We're about to see that now. So yeah, that ramped up real quick from hearing about this Kamloops entire land claim to every single time I have a call with somebody who's looking to buy a property virtually anywhere in BC, they always are asking about it. Hey, what happens if I buy this and the land claim goes through? What does that mean for my real estate? Is the bank going to close out on my loan? Are they going to revert backwards? Are they even going to give me a mortgage? Can I still buy a property if this happens? And the people in Kamloops are even more leveled up or fired up about it because they're the ones who are hearing about their city or community having this happen.
Well, it looks like Port Coquitlam's half fucked because apparently the band wants to take over all of the Crown land in Port Coquitlam, like every park, every public venue. I mean, that's come to the surface. And just the other day, all of the Aboriginal people in Alaska are applying to exert their rights over traditional fishing coastline all up and down British Columbia. So they're going to sort of dictate the policy of the government from Alaska. That's the next step we're experiencing here.
You know, it's fucked up because the sad thing about this, Ron, is it's creating such a fucking cultural divide, like such a terrible divide among, like, I talk to people I know that are native and they said to me, Alex, this is fucked up. Like, this is fucked up. I don't know what's going on. I don't even understand it, but this is crazy. Like, what are they even doing? Like, what is going on? And I'm like, I have zero interpretation of where this goes or what happens. All I know is if I'm hearing it from them, and I won't name names and I won't put it out there, but one of these gentlemen I said this is creating so much, I guess the word would be racism, in the Native community because you've got these TikTok posts going viral talking about, well, first we do the, what is it called, where it's like we are on the unceded territory of this band. I don't know the
acknowledgements.
So they do so they've got people now saying, you know, building up this crazy presence saying, well, first it started with a land acknowledgement, and then it's this, and then it's this, and now they're taking over your land. And then I got these native guys over here that are saying, yo, I had nothing to do with any of this stuff, and I don't want anything to do with it either way. It's just, I'm just getting racism coming at me now, right? Like, that's what's going on, unfortunately, because of this. So the side effects are mental. But as it relates to real estate, man, like, it's a serious conversation. It's a serious question that comes up, like, literally on the daily basis right now. It's actually wild. I don't think I've had it come up today, but it did come up yesterday. And my response is, I don't know. Like, we don't know. We're going to see what happens, because if you open if you open up that bag, like, where does it close?
So your comment is factually that people considering buying a property today or putting in offers today are consulting with you on the matter of, will this eventually be taken? Will there be a jeopardy that there'll be interference or dual title by a native band? And you're hearing that, right?
They're asking the question, or they're asking the realtor, and the realtor asks me the question, and my answer is I don't know, no idea. I can't even comment on the matter. I don't have enough professional or legal advice to be able to give to you to say that this will or won't happen. So it's happening, and it is stopping people from being able to make a decision. Like, they're just pausing. Like, no, I'm going to wait to see what happens here before I even buy or sell my real estate at this point.
Well, that's the great danger that circles back to where we started the conversation about money and people leaving Canada, like capital and people leaving Canada. Because if you create an environment where people who want to get ahead, who want to, build or buy or start a business or anything like that, or want to invest their money in a successful scenario, they stop and say, wait a second, I mean, it's just too pretty fucked up around here right now, okay? And that's a real thing. That's called sentiment. And consumer sentiment and market sentiments are important. They're really important, because that's what drives a certain percentage of decisions. We're not just robots, right?
Well,
Go ahead.
I had someone bring this up to me today. He's a younger guy, 22 years old, and he was asking me the question. He's like, what is the Bank of Canada? Like, what do they even do? What's the point? Why do people care? And whatever. We went through the conversation. The second part of the conversation, he's like, well, so Alex, does it mean that there's, like, people are more excited to buy real estate because of the Bank of Canada's decision to go down or not? That just sounds like a psychology thing. And I'm like, yes, the reality is it is a psychology play at the end of the day. Like, it is consumer psychology affected by a quarter point rate drop down or a quarter point rate drop up. And I think what you're finding is between obviously the tax considerations that we just talked about, like people getting taxed out the ass, the cost of goods going up, the Bank of Canada doing whatever the fuck they did the last 5 years, and the government printing money like it's going out of style. People are just, they just hate everything government right now. Everything government. I actually don't know how the government could fuck themselves any more than they already have. Like, I don't know a way that they could literally come out. And when I say government, I'm like almost on all levels.
All levels.
And every government, like all of them. Like, I don't care if you're right wing or left wing. You all suck. Like, you've all done a terrible job of communicating. None of you have actually done anything productive, and you just got people to hate you. Like, absolutely hate you. And I thought we hated them before. We really hate them now. Like, it's to the point where it's just mental. But this is even more fun. I want to talk about more trends. Let's talk about more trends that are going on right now that speak to the government thing. I have never had more applications so we think we hate our government. I've never had more applications from Americans coming to Canada than ever before this year. And I don't think it's just because of the pug. As much as I love Chewy and think that he's getting around, I have never had more applications from Americans. If you think we hate our government, man, they really hate their government. They're scared for their lives, man. Like, they are, we
got to be fair, though, and at least half of all Americans love their government. I mean, that's just the truth. We can't go. I have a lot of feelings about Trump, President Trump, that there's a few things seriously fucked up there. But half the country elected him. He got a majority at all levels. Yes, there are people who want to leave. We're looking at, and there are some people who just are leaving. One of the things that has happened, and we do get some of those applications that you're describing as well, but one of the things that's happened is that Canadians who built a kind of a career in the United States are all coming back. A lot of them are coming back because they feel, hey, I just don't know what the fuck's going to happen. So if I'm a smart person, I got a young family, I'm a smart person, I'm making good money here, maybe I should head back, though, because I don't need some guys to show up at my door one day and put a bag over my head. Okay, I mean, I'm here legally. I'm here extremely legally, but the way it's going, if I'm cautious and conservative, I need to go back home. I need to find a good job back home first. I need to do all the preparatory work. I need to make sure I'm doing the right thing. But I'm a Canadian citizen. I'm not an American citizen. I'm here on a green card. But I don't. If I'm not an American citizen, I want to think about headed back. Okay, because I'm just nervous. We've actually seen some legitimate executive types and highly skilled professionals are saying that. Same as we're running, same as you have. We're running into that experience. So yeah, it is happening. So whatever that means, I don't know, and it might change in a year. But we are seeing that right now as well, for sure.
So I mean, I don't know what we can derive from that other than the fact that it seems like people in the U.S. Vehemently hate their government more than Canadians, and we just put up with it or something like that. But the two themes that we've noticed, or could notice, is that there's a lot of money leaving our country to go to different places, so hence Mexico and otherwise. So there's a lack of trust in what money does within our country and the devaluation of it. And the second thing is like apparently Americans hate their country more than ours. But I don't know, man, like in the entrepreneurial community. So we talked about this yesterday. Kelowna's I only just bought a house up there a year ago, and it's kind of a hotbed for entrepreneurship. Believe it or not, it is. And a lot of these people work remotely. A vast majority of them work remotely. And the amount of people that are exiting or leaving the country for 6 months and living somewhere else, or talking about living somewhere else is a higher per quantity of people than I've ever met in my life. And maybe it's because a lot of these people are from somewhere else and they come here and they hang out here and they're like, we love this city, but there's no chance in hell I'm staying in Canada for that long and we're exiting. I have no idea. But that conversation is endless, and it's like Dubai, which that's a whole other conversation. But again, I just think it's an interesting trend. It's an interesting conversation. And I didn't grow up in a city or a country where people left the country. Like, I did not grow up where people were leaving Canada. Never. It was like, we love our country. We love where we want to be. I'm 40 years old, man. And so for the first 20 years of my life, 25 years old, it was like, go Canada, go Canada, go Canada, go. I've never seen so much vitriol, negativity, and hate towards our country than I've seen in the last 5 years, ever. More importantly, I've never seen so many people want to get their money out before.
Well, the money thing is real because there's definitely, those are issues that plague Canada. We have terrible productivity. We're overtaxed. We're not building anything. We don't have enough head offices here. All of our head offices over the last 30 years have been, except for the banks, insurance companies, etc., telcos. Every head office, every company that was located here to do with manufacturing or anything else has been bought up. We don't have head offices here anymore. There's Shopify and Bombardier. That's it. And Shopify is a tech company, and Bombardier is just propped up by government handouts. So, but everything else is gone. There's no manufacturing head offices in Canada except on a very small scale. So yes, you're right. That's opportunity lost. That's future growth lost. That's all lost. Absolutely true. But by the same token, it's still a great country. And the trouble with social media, we're both in it, but trouble with social media is a bit of an echo chamber. And if you it's easy for people who start negative to get even more negative. So that's a possibility too. But no, even set aside all that stuff, set aside everything to do with social media. People are not happy. Like, when I was growing up and, particularly, there was so much opportunity in the 70s and 80s and even the 90s. To do things and to feel that your career and your life is moving forward, and since COVID, it just doesn't seem to feel the same way right across the country. It just doesn't feel that way. So I think the truth of the matter is this, man. Like, there's so much opportunity out there for us to like dwell on it from a perspective of there not being out there. It's wild to me, obviously, being a business owner myself. And again, it's not all negativity, it's not all hate, and it's not all bullshit. Hence, like the people that are living here for 3 months are pretty damn happy. So, and they're seeing opportunities to make money and live in our country. There's a lot out there. I think just the truth of the matter is right now, it's just like you said, it's just a sentiment associated with the government that we have right now, and people are just I think they're just sick of it, man. You're just like sick of it. They're tired of their money going down in value. They're tired of their money not doing anything for them. And so the people that you're seeing moving their money elsewhere are just kind of saying, well, so on, life's going to go on.
on. I'm going to go and find a way to make that money. I'm just going to move it somewhere else. I'm going to move it outside the country, do the damn thing, and live the quality of my life wherever it is. So opportunity, yeah, you're probably right. But I'd say my feedback on that is, from what I've seen right now, because I've never seen so many driven 20 to 25-year-olds ever in my life. Speaking of which, that hotbed is mental. The opportunity is different now, Ron. The opportunity is different. The opportunity is no longer physically working in the city, doing what you do in that town or city, at least not as much as I've seen before. It is remote, online, building something, growing something that's more universal. And maybe that's a conversation about globalization of business in general, where people can sit in their basement suite and make $150,000 to $200,000 a year and create AI software, and then go and live in Costa Rica for 4 months.
Yeah, you could probably make some money on OnlyFans yourself for sure. I think you're in pretty good shape.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
So that's what you do in your basement, right? But anyway, we got a few minutes left. You got word association ready for me. You got to go do your word association. Let's go.
Oh, buddy, let's go. All right, let's start with fire here right now. Cash damming.
Fuckery. There you go. Rapid answers. Fuckery.
No, go deeper. Come on. We want full sentences.
I'll go deeper in other ones, like cash damming, like I say, except for a few mortgage brokers in the audience, I say nobody knows, but I'll just go harder on fuckery. Okay, that's it.
I feel like we just need to stop right there. No.
What's next?
How about this? How about this CRA?
Oh, fuck, yeah, CRA. CRA is the uppest organization in Canada. Nobody can be as fucked up as them. They make Rogers and Bell look like fucking customer service geniuses. CRA is the fuckedest place on earth. That's it.
The fuckedest. And one that I picked up early, so like I just want to hear what you have to say to this, because I've heard it about 500 times and I need to hear it real time. Just tell me what you really feel like about these shoebox condos. How do you really feel about these condos?
They're not fucking shoeboxes. They are dog crates. There are no fucking shoebox condos in the Butler mortgage world. Okay, dog crates. Like the dog crate condos are like literally. I think some of them are the same size as the trunk the Gimp got out of in Pulp Fiction, okay? Like, they are so badly laid out. The buildings are so shitty. The elevators only work half the time, and the building's only 3 years old. Like, it's literally hell on earth. Dog crate condos in some bad buildings are hell on earth.
Tell me how you really feel.
Hell on earth.
This is a different one. I'm going to do a little bit of a sidestep on this one. Airbnb,
listen, in pure vacation areas, like if you're on the beach, what's wrong with an Airbnb? Not much. But when you're actually, you're looking at, and this is why it got in so much trouble and why it got so legislated against in cities and provinces across Canada, is if you're building a building that's just a random downtown tower and you are designing it exclusively for Airbnb, but you're also selling it to a few people who think they're going to live there, and then they move in and find out that on the same floor there's a drug dealer and 3 sex workers. I'm not seeing different suites of sex workers, and I'm not saying anything. I'm not against the sex workers. I'm not beating you up. I'm not beating you up, you drug dealers. There is a place for you in society, but. Fuck, like, what are you going to take your kid down in the elevator and you're taking him down to school and there's like 3 women in bikinis and it's January? Like, what the fuck's going on here? Okay, it's like, makes no sense, all right? So that was my bitch with Airbnb. And there was points where Airbnb was also pulling all kinds of living space away from people who should we went through a crisis in Ontario where people couldn't find, rents were going through the roof, people couldn't find accommodation, and therefore it didn't make sense. But look, if you're on the beach in Kelowna, on the lake in Kelowna, I don't give a damn about that. That's perfectly rational. But right plunked in the middle of Toronto, no, it doesn't make any sense.
2 more words then. 2 more sentences. One is, I want to hear what you have to say, word association. When you think of the word inflation, how do you feel?
Well, inflation has become a great divide in our society. We referred to it earlier in the podcast, that people you can be destroyed by a 6% increase in your insurance. You can be destroyed by by this running food inflation that we experience every day. This can become so goddamn meaningful to certain people that it harms their ability to continue their lives. And the thing is, for people who are well off, inflation means fuck all. I mean, you can, I have, obviously, if you just take a fucking look at me, I have not changed one single thing I eat because of inflation. Not one fucking thing, okay? I don't think you have either, even though you look like you're on keto diet or some fucking thing. You're so skinny, it's like ridiculous. But inflation is so impactful on the part of our society that is not done well, has not had all the advantages, everything's not gone perfectly for them. It's so impactful, it's so evil, and it's causing just what we talked about, great surge in food bank use, and it's a terrible thing.
It's sad. It's sad. And a comment on that is, can you imagine if they taught inflation in school instead of fucking laws of 18 or whatever you want to call that, the War of 1812 or whatever it is? How much better people would be if they understood the difference between inflation and just general money. Like I talk to a lot of families, and let's just say the concept and understanding is minimal at best, and it's not their fault. It's because no one ever taught them or raised them to understand that this inflation thing eats away at their money every single day. It sits in that Scotiabank or RBC bank account. They're getting their share. You're not. I wish people understood that. Last one, really quickly here, because I know you have mixed feelings and thoughts on this one here. Smith maneuver.
So I have no comment whatsoever on the Smith maneuver, but I will go back to the Jones scheme, okay? So on the Jones scheme, which is not the Smith maneuver, the Jones scheme is fuckery, okay? It is fuckery, and the fuckedest uptest mortgage brokers are the sons of bitches who are actually selling a course to become a Jones scheme expert. Like, you can get certified as a Jones scheme expert, okay? Like, fuck all you guys and fuck the horse you rode in on, okay? Because that's crazy. Like, hey, look at this. I am a Jones scheme certified expert. Yeah, fuck you. The guy who runs the Jones scheme sold you the license to sell the fucking... It's a pyramid scheme of a shittery, okay? That's what it is. The Jones scheme is the inshittification of the mortgage business, period.
Perfect. I'm glad that I know how you really feel at this point. Listen, we're on the same page here. We both spend way too much time on social media, or at least posting on social. And I really want to bring this up because the amount of people that send me messages on a daily basis from people who I don't think have been in the industry for more than 6 months, telling them that they can get an effective interest rate of 75 basis points lower than they have right now because they can do this tax-related scheme is crazy. And I'm on your page, man. Like, listen, there's some merit to all of these things if you fully understand, which we can agree that there might be 100 people in the country who fully understand how to do this. But at the end of the day, man, like it is not the answer for vast majority of people. And if you're online on YouTube or Instagram and stuff like that, don't fall for that shit. Don't fall for it. It's not there to help you. Not there to help you. Anyways, we're moving on.
Thank you. It's been a great podcast. Now, I know you want to get back to roasting your nuts outside in Mexico, okay? So get back in the pool. Fire up the blender for the margaritas and live the Mexican life. God bless you. I'm going to go back to the fucking freezing cold of Toronto, okay, and just be envious. That's all.
We can deal with that. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks a lot.
Awesome.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.